the planet Earth.
Some call me nature.
I am very passionate about the planet
Earth.
A living, breathing planet capable of sustaining whatever life forms we see fit to deposit on it.
Spock, judging by the pollution content of the atmosphere, I believe we have arrived.
It's the planet stupid.
No. It's the planet stupid.
Always important to talk about the environment. So I welcome Belinda Waymouth to the Mark Thompson Show. Hi, Belinda.
Good morning. Good morning, and thanks for the quick marriage that I
Yeah,
just had.
you're welcome.
It just lasted a couple of seconds. It seems
Just
like,
partnering you up as we move along. I was excited to see that you plan to talk about the things that we have done right in 2023 for the planet, the
Yes.
best things that happened ecologically. So I don't know how long the list is. I'm hoping it's not a big shorty, you know.
Yeah. No, there's quite a lot on it. Do you want to talk about the volcano in Iceland and how it's not going to be nearly as terrible as what happened in 2010 and why?
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
there. This is the volcano that erupted near Reykjavik, and they knew it was coming, so they evacuated this town and this very popular tourist area. And a couple of days ago, it did erupt, and so I wonder if there's anything climate change related about this, or if it's going to do some ecological damage, or if you had any thoughts on what happened there.
Well, here's the thing, the Earth in, magma, which is, the core of the Earth, that's molten rock. And I don't think us heating up the surface of the planet is doing anything to what's going on inside. It's already busy enough with, without us adding greenhouse gases. But here's the thing about this one. There are 5 tracks of lava that are, making their way, downhill. And obviously, you don't want to get anywhere near that, but it's winter. You can see it's super freezing, and lava will stop moving once it cools. Mm-hmm. And what happened in 2010, I don't know if people remember, but, international air travel was absolutely disrupted. There was another enormous volcanic eruption in Iceland. But what happened with that one, which was wild, was that volcano was underneath a glacier. And so what happened was, when it exploded, there's all this, molten rock, the magma, and then it interacted with the melted water from the glacier. And you know how if you put, if you've got a pan with oil and it's really hot and a few drops of water get in there, they hiss and it kind of goes a little crazy. So, yes. So what happened with this was, it was like that, but on this huge level. I mean, It just caused this massive explosion. There was all this ash created, and then all these little glassy particles. And because of where that volcano was, the debris went straight up into the atmosphere, got caught in the jet stream, and then spread around Europe. And they were like, oh, what's this going to do if it gets in the jet engine of a plane? This could be bad. We better, ground all air travel, which they did. But this is not going to happen this time. There could be some interruptions, but they're not anticipating it being, nearly as bad. And no, we didn't cause it, Kim.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So let's move forward to the things we have done right in 2023.
Yeah, it's a really interesting moment. I keep on talking about how pivotal it is. And this is definitely coming in from the, the optimist angle, which is, my favorite one. But what we're really seeing is that the energy sector, electricity, is, weaning itself off fossil fuels. This is happening. And some researchers are actually likening it to the iPhone, kind of moment, that there's going to be this massive adoption. I'm always talking about how the costs of renewables are coming down. So solar costs in the past decade down 90%, wind costs in the past decade down 70%. And right now in the US, solar, wind, and battery storage are accounting for 14% of our energy production and 12% worldwide. And that's not insignificant. I mean, obviously, we want it to be happening faster. But the fact is that, Biden's Inflation Reduction Act has really had an impact. Solar installation is predicted to grow by 53% on what we installed this year. There'll be 53% on top of that next year.
Sure.
Which is really great. And what's happening with the adoption of electric vehicles and all this new solar and heat pumps, all this technology, and the fact that their benefits are, we can see them. This is empowering politicians to get behind their adaptation. And the IRA, interestingly, when it first came out, they did polls, how aware were people of it? Did they really, think it was benefiting them? Well, those numbers are really increasing, and they're not sure if it's, better political messaging, if it's, word of mouth, if the media is doing a better job. But whatever's happening, people are really seeing that the IRA is having an effect. It's having an effect for them. EV sales are going up. They're predicted to, to account for 9% of all new passenger car sales next year.
Sure.
So all that stuff is, moving us in the right direction. And this one, I think, is really, thank goodness we got De Silva in Brazil. Amazon deforestation is down 50% this year compared to last year. And that is huge. And De Silva, wants it to go to zero deforestation by 2030. Some of the other South American, Amazon bordering countries, they don't want it to happen that fast. But the fact is that De Silva, and Brazil, where the majority of the Amazon are, it is saying, we have to do this. So those things are really positive. And then the protection of biodiversity, which has really been growing, and at the UN level, which is really big, they have this, it's called the Coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. And it's sort of at a policy level, and along with other, agreements that are also at the international level and have, were agreed on at COP 28. They're really well formulated. All these countries are saying, yes, we know we need to protect biodiversity. It's super important. It's also really important because of, the carbon sequestration that healthy ecosystems, afford us. And we also, in August, had 70 countries signing on to a high seas treaty that's to protect vital marine ecosystems in international waters. So there is this movement, in the right direction, which I think is, super, super important. And then we have what's happening on a political and then sort of legal basis. So the EU had this landmark carbon border adjustment mechanism, which became law in October, saying that EU corporations have to pay if they are importing carbon polluting products into the union. And this is seen as probably being the single most potential or having the greatest potential legislative potential to put a global price on carbon. If you have the whole of the EU and all those corporations, if they're importing products, that they have to pay, basically, if it's known that those are, carbon polluting items. So that's big. And then we have all the litigation that's been happening, against fossil fuel companies and governments. They are being sued around the world. A Belgian court has ordered the Belgian government they have to cut their emissions more quickly. And remember, here in Montana, we had the judge ruling in favor of the youth group who said,
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was amazing. So the fact that we've got judges in the US also getting on board with us and saying, yes, these young people have a right to a clean environment. That's part of their state's constitutional rights. Yep. We've got California suing the 5 major fossil fuel companies because of climate change disinformation. So all these things, sort of move us, in the right direction. And, optimists are really sort of seeing this, is that, a decade ago, the worst case scenario, we were looking at 4 to 5 degrees Celsius of, climate change. The temperature would go up 4 to 5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, which, that's really catastrophic. Now we're still, in a danger zone, and it still could go up 2.5 to 3 degrees Celsius. But if we can keep the positive momentum going and keep pushing, and if we could, and it will take a Herculean, sort of effort on everyone's behalf, scientists, policymakers, activists. But if we really could manage to keep it to 2, I mean, we've already seen this year with, what happened in Canada, the heat waves in China, Canada, the fires, the floods that we've had worldwide. We can see where we're at with 1.5. So what everyone is really pushing for now is, can we do this, keep it at 2? Which would be really huge.
Well, after the whole COP28 thing, which really seemed like a bit of a farce, it's nice to see that there's actual things actually happening. I want to talk to you about the California plan to take toilet water and sanitize it and then put it back through the tap. But before I do, I think Randy has a really good question for you. He wants me to ask you about California deciding to keep the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant open through 2030.
And what I think about that?
Yes, your thoughts on this, because I know it could be it's environmentalists are not for it normally, is what I understand.
Yeah, well, we've talked quite a bit about nuclear, and I mean, it's definitely problematic. I mean, we know that nuclear waste is super problematic, but there's also being pragmatic. And if, nuclear power plants can help us, make that bridge to, renewables, then, I think if you make really sort of judicious decisions about which ones you keep open and which ones you don't. I mean, there are a lot of people who argue that we can't do it without nuclear power. I think, the scientists who I agree with say that we can. Yeah. But if we're using something that's not putting greenhouse gas emissions up into the atmosphere for, till 2030, and this is really crunch time, I suppose I'd have to say, yes, we should do it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to this toilet to tap situation, because I'm kind of ooged out by the whole thing.
I know. It's such a hard one. Especially when the toilet to tap. I mean, what they call it is, it's called direct potable reuse. And maybe that's a little more palatable. But here's the thing about water, and particularly here in California. We've just been through this 3-year extreme drought situation. Water is so important here, and it just feels so precarious a lot of the times, water. So the fact is wastewater is a drought-resistant water source. And that's sort of how you have to look at it. There's always going to be wastewater. And the fact is, Kim, we already use it. They clean it to such an unbelievable degree. They take out every single pathogen. It's a 3-step, reverse osmosis, microfiltration, ultraviolet light. I mean, down in Orange County, they're taking wastewater. They're cleaning it to this level. I mean, they take out so many pathogens. And in fact, the minerals that make it taste good, they have to put them back in afterwards after they've done this ultra cleaning. But in the OC, to make it palatable, this potable water, to make it palatable for people, they're pumping it back into aquifers, leaving it there for several months, and then repumping it back out, re-putting it through a water treatment plant, and then putting it in your taps. So the fact is, it's already happening, and we have to use it. I mean, they're using it to make ice for ice rinks. They're using it to make snow in Tahoe. They're using it in the Central Valley to irrigate crops. And so what's happened in California, the newest rules, they're not saying, hey, all wastewater, companies have to do this. They're saying that you can treat wastewater and put it right back into the drinking water system. And here's the thing about it, and hopefully this will set your, the ick factor. Hopefully this will quell this for you.
Like, I know they're going to sanitize it. I get that it's scientifically necessary and that they have ways of making it so it's really clean, but I just can't quite wrap my head around what I'm seeing go down the sink is going to be completely and totally filled. I guess I have a trust issue.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Look, if you live down river of another city, you're already getting recycled wastewater. That's already being put back into the water system, upriver of you. So, and it's already happening, around the world because, the 71% of the planet is covered with water. Well, as we know, most of that is salt water. Only 3% is fresh water, and only 1% of that is readily available to us. Most of the water is down on aquifers, and we have been utilizing aquifers to the point where in California, I mean, the soil subsidence in places where they've really taken out the groundwater is crazy, 70 feet, in some places. And to talk about just how stringent the treatment is, it's taken 10 years to develop these rules. They at the meeting they had, which was on Tuesday, it came in just days before the December 31st deadline that they had. And like I said, it's so stringent that it removes even the minerals that make the water taste good. And so those have to be re-added afterwards. I mean, it's more stringent than what your drinking water that's coming out of your faucet is going through right now. The pathogens that they are going through, going for and filtering out. And I think what they're going to have to do is really, they're going to have to really educate the public and sort of show them what's happening. And there is a little video, I sent a link of it where they show you, I mean, this water really goes through the ringer part in the pump, before you get it back. And we're just the second state, Colorado already does this. And as you know, I mean, we're always talking about the Colorado River and the fact that it's it's just maxed out. There's not enough water. There's no water in it by the time it gets to Mexico. So we have to get smart about, every water source. And like I said, it's a drought resistant, form of source of water.
Belinda, the environment's so important, and you've played such a big role in bringing this information to the listeners on the Mark Thompson Show, back at KGO and here on the Mark Thompson Show on YouTube and podcast as well. I can't thank you enough for all you've done.
Oh, well, it's totally my pleasure. As you know, I am very passionate about the planet.
Yes, you are.
When that little bit comes out, I'm like,
Well done. Well, I hope you have a really happy holiday. Any big plans?
Our daughter is home from university, so that's sort of our big plan, is hanging out with her. And yes, and then really enjoying talking of rain, that we're getting this fantastic rain right now.
Absolutely.
So making the most of that. Are you getting rain up there?
Yeah. Oh, it's been pelting us in Northern California as well. So
yeah, it's crazy. Well, listen, happy holidays, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of the Mark Thompson Show and to bring you the eco updates that I do.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. Thank you, Belinda Waymouth. Bye. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.
More.
It's the planet stupid. No. It's the planet stupid.
Next time, only on The Mark Thompson Show.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.